shift the way you lead, the way you live. Clarity, courage, change. Because your next level won't wait. This is Monday Mindshift, the clarity you've been craving, the shift you didn't know you needed. Hello, happy New Year, happy Monday. Thank you for joining. I'm Sean Michael, let's try that again. I'm Sean Michael. If you don't already know me, I go by the title the Identity Disruptor and Inner Potential Activator. And my goal is to wake people up to the incredible potential that they already have inside them. And I love doing these Monday Mind Shifts. We just celebrated, I think it was in November. I'd have to go back and check, but 1 year of Monday Mind Shift. And I think 2 or 3 weeks, maybe even less, that we've missed. So thank you everyone who's been on any of the events, been here live, adding your questions, your comments. Know that you are appreciated, and I'm grateful for you. And who's ready to rock 2026? It's the year of the fire horse. Last year, 2025, in Chinese zodiac was the year of the snake. And like this snake, 2025 was about shedding old identities, old habits, etc., and getting ready for growth. Today, or this year, in the same Chinese zodiac, is the year of the fire horse, and it implies action and movement. So what are you ready to take on and do this year to change your life, to change your business? Good morning, Liana. Happy New Year. All right. Hope it's not too cold up there in Minnesota. I know it's a little chilly for me here in Guatemala, but it's been good. That's why I live here, because it's not so cold. And snow ain't happening here. So welcome. I know some people will be joining a little later because they're over watching Leslie. And this week, Leslie and I are back to back. So I understand that there's going to be some people trickling in later this week because we don't have that gap between Leslie's Mind Over Matter and Monday Mindshift. So thank you for being here early, Liana. Maybe you're doubling up. I don't know. But much appreciated to all the 2 people that I see that are watching right now. And if you're here on Team Replay, go ahead and do that. Hashtag Team Replay. Let me know you popped in, where you're watching from, and maybe what's your big intention or your word for 2026. All right, let's get right into the teaching. And as you might have noticed from the title, I hope you noticed, but today's topic is you don't have a motivation problem. You have an identity conflict. Here's how I see it. Most people think they lack motivation. And sometimes we get that surge of motivation. You go to an event, you participate in something, you feel really charged up, but often that motivation fades. But I want to say that this isn't a lack, it's not a lack of motivation. It's what I call, it's what we would call an internal identity conflict. You see, if you didn't really care You wouldn't feel stuck. You wouldn't feel frustrated. You wouldn't continue trying to restart. Motivation, when it disappears, it's not random. What's happening is it collapses when two parts of you, two identities in you. Meryl, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining us from Chile, New Jersey, northern New Jersey. So that makes it really cold. So, as I was saying, motivation collapses when you have two identities, two ideas of who you are or who you believe you are, and they want different things. Now, here's my reframe. Lack of motivation, think of it as a signal instead of a flaw, right? Losing that motivation or not having the motivation, it's not anything wrong with you. It's a signal that there's something to look at inside you. And good morning, Lei. I hope I say that right. Over there in Central California. I'll actually be in Southern California later this week. As I mentioned before, I'm going to an event called the Global Launch of the $1 Billion Impact Marketplace. And it's a group of entrepreneurs, CEOs, nonprofit founders, etc. And we're shaking up online marketing a bit. Instead of the traditional pitch, share, etc., book clients, what's happening is entrepreneurs are able to share an offer in front of the group and it's bid on as an auction. And the twist that I really love is half of the money goes to different charities, different nonprofit groups to help raise funds. So you've got this win-win. The entrepreneur gets to work with more clients, impact more lives, earn some money in the process, and the charities, the nonprofits get money to follow their mission. All right. So if motivation collapses because of this identity, what really is motivation, right? Some people might think of it as willpower and good morning Christy. I hope it's morning. I think it's morning for Christy. Thank you for joining. Right? Motivation isn't willpower. I would say it's alignment. When who you think you should be is at odds with who you're becoming, energy drops. As an example, you want freedom, but your identity is built on approval. Or you want impact, but your identity is built on safety. You want rest, but your identity is built on usefulness. These cause conflicts internally. Energy follows identity, not goals. So my question for you all to think about is, where do you feel like you should want something, but you don't? Go ahead and add that to the chat. Where do you feel like you want something, like you should want something, but you don't? Right? What's that thing? What's something you feel like I should want this, but you're like, I don't. That leads us to, how do we identify, how do we spot this identity conflict? Our motivation problems, our challenges, typically show up in these ways. The big one, procrastination. The next is, okay, my app is not. And Sherilyn's here. Hello, Sherilyn. Oh boy, now LinkedIn just crashed the live event. So procrastination, overthinking, starting and stopping. I know what to do, but I don't do it. Often people see these as a discipline thing, right? A discipline issue. But I want to flip that. It's not discipline. Most people I've met, myself included, we can do discipline, right? Especially being ex-military. We were taught discipline. We drilled, we practiced discipline. So I know I can do discipline, but having struggled, having been a procrastinator, an overthinker, start, stop, etc. This was like an eye opener for me to learn that it isn't about discipline. It's a loyalty conflict. Now, this is an interesting question that I want you to ask yourself. What part of you, I had to ask myself this question, what part of you benefits from not moving forward yet? See, that's the reality. We don't move forward. We know what to do, but we don't do it because some part of us gains a benefit from not moving, from staying where we are, from not doing the thing we know we should. And I know I don't like to use shoulds, but the thing we know will help us, will benefit us, the thing that would move us forward, would move the needle for us. So once again, what part of you benefits from not moving forward yet? It's not laziness. It's protection. Something your subconscious is trying to protect. So where did it start? Where does it come from? Most identity conflicts were formed way before we had adult goals, where we learned that being productive meant being safe. Being liked meant being valued. Mary Kay, welcome. And Jackie, thank you for joining us. So again, we learned early in life, well before we had adult goals, being productive means being safe. Being liked meant being valued. Being strong meant being loved. These are some examples. And when our growth threatens these identities, motivation goes right down. That part of you, the part of me that resisted change, it's not broken. It's just loyal to these old understandings. So my next question, who did you learn you had to be to stay safe? Right? That's the question. That's the question of the hour. Who did you learn you had to be to stay safe, to feel valued, to feel loved? All right. I know Meryl loves this part. Science time. Why does your body yank the brake? Because our nervous system doesn't care about ambition. right? Ambition is a cognitive thing. It's not in our body. Our nervous system, our body, what it cares about is familiarity and safety. So we have this bubble that we live in, that identity stays in, and it says, I know what to expect. I feel familiar, I feel safe, I feel comfortable. And when the goal threatens one of those old identities, your body says, uh-oh, danger. And there are some physical symptoms that you can expect when your body senses danger, because you're trying to stretch out of that comfort zone, out of that familiar. Well, if you've been around a while, Jackie, you know I like to ask the intense questions. And these are questions I ask myself. I've asked myself to shift. That's powerful, Mary Kay. Intelligent. Yeah. That me too, Lay. I was constantly trying to prove my intelligence because I wasn't good at sports. I dropped out of violin lessons. Two things I was really good at. Well, three: math, reading, and music. And I went through my whole life, my whole early life, trying to earn my father's love by proving like how smart I was and how well I could do in my schoolwork, in the choir, in all of that. And my mom too, but mostly it was my dad. But the reality here is your nervous system will always override your vision if it feels unsafe. Straight up. All the discipline, all the motivation, it hits a wall. Your body says, this is danger. I'm not moving. So that leads us to, well, let me pause there. Let me go back through here. So I appreciate everybody sharing so openly, so honestly. Mary Kay, Lay, Jackie, those are powerful. And I remember today on my Mind Over Matter, the discussion with Leslie and her guest. I can't remember her name. I think it was Caroline. There was a big discussion. I remember that they were talking about awareness, right? We have to become aware before we can make a change. Lady Drew, welcome. Haven't seen you around in a long time. Happy New Year. All right. So our first practice, actually today, I think it's the only practice. Let me look at my notes. Yeah, that's the only practice. Is an identity alignment shift. So what we do is step one is name the goal. Whatever the goal that you set, what's the thing you're struggling to motivate yourself towards? I always say get a notebook and a pen or a pencil and write it down. There's great power in taking your hand and writing this out. You can do it in a notepad on your phone or on your computer, but it won't impact you the same as if you sit down and write it out in a journal, in a notebook. Trust me, I've done this. When I type stuff, I don't remember it. I don't process it the same. But when I handwrite it, it changes the way it hits me. Step two, you want to name the identity. And what I mean here is, who do you believe you need to be in order to pursue this goal? Whatever the goal is. Maybe it's, to book 5 clients, or to go to the gym more frequently, or lose weight. Those are all the common ones, right? It's, speak live on TEDx. That's a big one. A little scary for a lot of people. But think about that. Write out, who do you believe you need to be in order to pursue that? This doesn't have, we're not talking about who you believe you are now, who's your current identity, or the identity that's got you to here. What's the identity that you have to become to reach that goal? Step 3. This is the hard part. The first part, name the goal, that's pretty simple. Name the identity, that's a little deeper. Number 3, this is where it gets difficult. Name the conflict. What would you lose if you actually reach the goal? Let me repeat that. What would you lose, or what might you lose, if you actually succeed at reaching that goal? Right? There's the loyalty. The old identity says, well, I would lose this. And we're like, I don't want to lose that. That benefit we talked about earlier, right? By not being motivated, by procrastinating, by overthinking, by knowing what to do but not doing it, there's a benefit, there's a payoff, there's a feeling or something that you get by staying there. So here's the big question. What's the conflict? What might you lose if you succeeded at this goal? How would it, maybe certain people wouldn't stop talking to you, or, there's a lot of different things that if you sit down and think about it, you could go, oh yeah, I would lose that. And wow, that's why I don't do it. And number 4, offer that part of you integration with this question. What would change if you didn't have to abandon yourself to move forward? The key here is, we're not trying to force motivation, because as we said earlier, motivation that's forced or triggered through some, charged up event, it will fail. It will die. It will collapse, because that old identity is holding on to it. Part of you is staying loyal to that version of you. So what we need to do is renegotiate internally with who we need to become. All right. So I have 2 prompts. That's good, Mary Kay. I'll lose the weight. I'd love to learn more, though. What kind of weight? And what does that mean? All right. So the first prompt here, the old rule I've been living by. Take your time. When you give yourself the space to do this. I don't expect you to answer that now. Happy New Year to you, Annie, and thank you for joining. Give yourself the space, give yourself the time to answer these questions honestly. There's no points for right answers, because there is no right answers. They're your answers, and that's what matters. And then this prompt, the old rule I've been living by. And the follow-up prompt, The new rule I'm willing to test is. So this is how we integrate who we are, who we were, with who we need to become or who we will become by reaching that goal, by pursuing that goal. For example, the old rule I've been living by is I must earn rest. Probably that's a familiar rule. I know I've got many people in my life that I've seen, they are under the belief that they have to earn the rest, right? I worked hard, so now I can take a rest. And here's an example new rule. Rest is a prerequisite for clarity. In fact, that old rule, I must earn rest, was one of mine, right? That I needed to work hard X amount of time to take a rest. Today, I've learned to take a step back, take time off, rest, spend time, even just 5 minutes, doing nothing. No Netflix, no YouTube, no social media, none of it. Just 5 minutes or more, me and my thoughts, my heart, just me doing nothing. Letting go of the tasks, the chores, the things that need to be done so I can gain clarity so that when I do go to do it, I'm ready. When your identity stops fighting itself, that's when motivation comes. That's when real motivation returns. Thank you, Leslie. I'm so glad to see you here. I appreciate you, Leslie. Like all, right? Whether it's Mary Kay or Liana, Annie, Lady Drew, Jackie, Lay. Oh boy, I pushed the wrong button. So I can't follow your comments as well. Actually, it's the main thing is I can't add my comments. So you guys can have them for later. All right. Here's the truth I want you to take away here. You don't need more drive. You don't need more hustle. What you need is more honesty with yourself, more honesty about who you're loyal to. Which version of you are you loyal to? John, welcome. Thank you for joining. Hey, Bill. Glad you made it. And Leslie, I'm not surprised you ended on time. Like you have that timing locked. But I also know, like, after sitting in an event, like, you might need to go get a cup of water, stretch your legs, whatever. So I know it takes a minute for people to migrate from one event to another. And Happy New Year to all. If you weren't here when I gave the New Year greetings, Happy New Year. May it be blessed. YouTube link. You bet. Because I know for me, sometimes LinkedIn has been acting wonky, keeps booting me out of the room. Whoops, that is not the right copy paste. Copy. Let's try this again. There we go. I love that, Mary Kay. Honesty is a strategy. And the person that's most important to be honest with, of course, integrity and honesty with others is very important. But sometimes the hardest, and I would say the most important, is honesty with yourself. All right. So when identity aligns and you can let go of that loyalty to the old version, that's when action actually becomes inevitable, right? If you change your identity, Joanne, welcome. Thank you for joining. It's a new face. Absolutely, John. Honesty with ourselves can unlock so much. But I know in my own journey, sometimes being honest with yourself is harder than being honest with others. Like a lot of other things, self-forgiveness, loving ourselves. Why is that? Why is it that we find that so easy to give those respect, love, honesty, trust, leadership? We find it so easy to deliver it out to others. But I want to flip that, because if we start here with our self-trust, self-love, self-care. I just did a special episode on the podcast of self-care as a proactive step, not a corrective step. Let's see, self-care, self-love, self-trust, self-leadership, self-honesty. So much more powerful. And before I open this up to guests, which I need to make sure I got my link copied. Let's see if I got that ready. All right. So if today revealed an inner identity conflict, maybe you've been wrestling with it for a long, long time, I want to offer you an identity clarity call. It's no cost, no pitch. It's just you and me, designed to help you work through this conflict, through the update, without force, letting, no self-judgment, because that's the self thing I don't want to have, right? Self-love, self-trust, self-respect, self-honesty, self-judgment. Kick that guy to the curb, or gal. Just go ahead and DM me, comment in the chat or on the post, honesty, since that's been our theme. And other than that, whoa, my computer's doing its own thing. All right, so let me send this link, post, and put it on the screen. If you're willing, if you're able, I'd love to hear from you. Share your thoughts, your comments. Let's have a conversation about motivation and identity conflicts, especially internal, those internal tension that keeps us procrastinating, overthinking, and not doing what we know would help us. Tom, welcome. Glad you made it. Unlike Leslie's show, all my teaching happens in the first 30 minutes, and then we have discussion in the later 30 minutes. Any questions, comments? Would love to have you join. As I always say, I'm on video. You don't have to be. You can come up on audio only. Would love to hear from you. What landed for you in today's topic, in what I shared? Anything like that. Or just what are your big goals? What are your plans for 2026? The year of the fire horse. Right? The year that it's about movement, that's about action. Which way are you moving? All right, I got something. Was it here? Because I saw a really great in a WhatsApp group all about this year of the fire horse. But I need to save it somewhere, pin it, download it, because I keep seeing it and then I keep losing it. Yes, Lady Drew, talking to ourselves in the mirror is very, very powerful. Being honest with ourselves and loving ourselves, respecting ourselves, accepting ourselves with all our flaws. I've got about 15 minutes, maybe a little less, because I have an event at 12 my time, which is when I normally wrap this up. So I want to make sure to wrap this up right on time. Comments, questions? Awakened reflection, thank you for joining. Reminding ourselves. Yes, that's the challenge. Even with all the tools we have, trying to pull it all together. So I didn't find the one I wanted to find, but the fire horse year, expect dynamic energy, passion, speed, bold action, technology and innovation, culture, media, but good question. I am good. I am good. Awaken reflection. I'm ready for this new year. You got this too. You've all got this. Whoops. So Tom or John, sorry, has a great question. I believe there is definitely some connection to these. Oh, did I reprint? Annie, I'll send you it direct. Let's see. Where is it? YouTube. Let's see. Will this let me do it? Yes, Annie, I will send it momentarily, sir. Just got to get the right buttons. Yeah, I believe so too, Mary Kay. There is a connection, but not a dependency. That's a good way to put it. All right. It should be in your inbox. Amen, Lay. Taking a break after mourning a loss, caretaking, or for mourning a loss. Yes, take your time. Do it right, right? Get ready, get through this process, this time before you launch into the bold goals, the bold actions. Nicole, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining. You made it. All right, let's go back to that. And actually, John, now that I think about it, it took me a second to dial it and register it. What is self-worth? What if I said self-worth was a myth? Because I told my son he's priceless. You're priceless. I'm priceless. As a human being, like self-worth it's something we try to process, but I would say self-concept is more powerful. But yes, that self-honesty is the step that we need to shift the identity, to shift into seeing ourselves as we would like us to be, right? That person we're becoming. Oh, and I see any. You there, Annie? Because I just see a black screen.
I'm here. Okay, so I'm trying to turn the other channels off.
Because I'm used to seeing either your background, your global media.
Incognito, how are you doing?
Incognito. I am doing well. Happy New Year, sir.
Yes, happy New Year to you too. Another deep conversation. Yeah, you said we've got 10 minutes left, right? So I might as well take my chance. Yeah, and you wouldn't leave me on stage by myself, so here I
Whoops, I pushed the wrong
am.
button. We got
That's not
Bill
me.
too.
That's Mr. Bill. Yes, he's a smarter guy than me. Clearly, he has an avatar, which is interesting. How you doing, Bill?
I'm
Happy New
doing
Year.
good. How are you?
All right. Happy New Year to you too.
How good, Bill? Because the tone of voice that it's not. I'm not believing it.
I'm honestly it is the first Monday of 2026, and the weekend was fairly rough for me. But I don't want to take over your show. I can talk forever, Sean. Um, so I will be a guest and shut up. And if you have questions, ask.
So, have you experienced this where motivation, either of you, where motivation wasn't there? You had
Yeah,
discipline. You like, can you? I know you came in late, Bill, and Annie was later, so you didn't hear the whole teaching on motivation. What I said at the beginning was motivation. We all know it's temporary, right? You can go get charged up and like, okay, do this, and it has a short run.
yeah,
What I was teaching earlier is that we have an internal identity conflict because an old identity and our body is feeling danger. It wants to keep us stuck where we are
yep,
because the unknown is unfamiliar, uncomfortable, scary.
Hmm.
And so motivation collapses when you have this conflict.
right. And I experienced that all weekend. Um, it was the it was Saturday and Sunday. I've been really applying for positions throughout between Thanksgiving and Christmas and all of November and October, knowing that I wouldn't expect anything until January. January 1st came when everything was closed. So, things hit my bank account, but nothing came in. And you're looking at all of the first of the year's bills. Then we had a bombing, and then my health care got taken away. And all those things in 2 days uh, took my positive energy that I try to exude, and I'm gonna say I do exude.
And that's what's missing. That's that there's what I noticed wasn't there. Your
Right.
usual jubilance.
Well, it's awesome. Well, yes, my usual jubilant is not here, and part of that is part of what I just told you. Like I'm not gonna claim depression, but I just got up and it's 12 o'clock, right? So I'm just now waking up. So what you're really experiencing is not my vibe because I'm just sipping on my tea, and you are the first. This is the first word I've spoken all day, and there's a difference between um, William Rochelle, but you can call me Bill, and Bill. And he comes on when the lights comes on when the lights come on. But in reality, I'm an introvert, and right now, I know it sounds crazy, Sean, but really I am. I come alive watching you guys come alive. But I'm an introvert, and I am nervous, and I am trying to get that out of my head. One of the things that really struck me the hardest is that I said I was leaving fear behind in 2025, and it showed up like a wrecking ball in 2026 for me. So I'm trying to get myself remotivated, and I wrote a I wrote an article, and I about how I was feeling, exactly how I was feeling. And then I followed it up with another article saying yesterday was bad, but today is better. And then today I followed it up with a more solid one, like I'm more on more solid ground.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm taking life right now 1 minute at a time because I can't do a day at a time. I have to do it 1 minute right now. A minute check in, a minute reminder, a minute to rewire my mind and to concentrate on what I'm focusing on. So I hope I added some type of value to uh, your podcast today.
Well, and I would say this, Bill. I said this a few weeks ago. Like, I stopped praying for things like patience or asking for patience because that's when life threw the challenge at me. It's like, oh, you want more patience? Okay, let's give you some practice. Right? So what if, you're like, I'm leaving behind fear, and life says, oh, let's test.
And it did.
And it
It did.
did.
It did. Waking up, and I don't know how you're doing, by the way, because you're further south than we are. Um, but waking up to all of that, what's going on here, and you're trying to find a job, and you're trying to get, yourself motivated to look for a job. The uncertainty of it all is what pushed the fear. But I can't control that. What I can control is that I don't sit in that. And
Absolutely.
that's where I am making that shift from recognizing, understanding, accepting, and then pushing through it.
Yes. Well, and one thing I've learned in my journey, one of my mentors says life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. The challenge, perfectly illustrated by what you shared, Bill, is seeing it. Like, you see this challenge, this difficulty, the world falling apart, basically, and you go, how is that for me? Like, we can't see it in the midst. In my own journey, I've noticed, like, in the midst of it, I can't see it. But looking back, I can see, oh, and it takes a lot from you to stop and go, oh, okay, I see. And the other thing that I've more recently really been digging into is circumstances outside of us. They're going to happen, right? Presidents do crazy things. People, the businesses. I see the news. I don't watch the news a lot, but I do see the news that you know companies are. And my wife talks to HR directors and CEOs all the time, and around the world, companies are downsizing. Although she did meet one that's on a massive hiring spree in Turkey. And but I can't control that. I've learned I can't control that. Sometimes life sucks. What I can control is my thinking about it. And I don't say that flippantly, like, yeah, just change your thoughts, Bill. It's a process I've learned.
Absolutely. 100%. Any? Any thoughts?
All I'm thinking is that I'm the unknowingly jovial, happy Annie. But I'll take it. I think I agree with you, Sean. For me, it's partly reframing. There's always stuff going on. There's always people who are determined to get in your way. Where's my camera? But what can you do? Yeah, so I guess I'm learning not to react. The proverbial "don't react, respond" type thing. And so I just learned to just do one thing, whatever that one thing is. Yeah, I think I said, have I got my problems? They're putting into insignificance compared to what Bill's talking about for sure.
Oh, I think everyone's problems are are their problems, and I've seen it from all aspects, and this it's a humble brag, but I've had tons of money and I've had none, um, and there's a difference when you have none, and when you don't know you're going to pay your bills. There's a
Mm,
significant difference, and um, but I also recognize this. I was walking down the street the other day, and I saw these two guys. They were mowing the lawn. They were landscapers, and in my neighborhood, and we just had a conversation. And there was no difference as human beings between us. We just had different. We had different clothes on.
mm,
We had different. I live in a different neighborhood, but our values, the people that we are, wasn't different. My struggle is no different than someone, a single mother that is in an apartment trying to succeed. We are the same in this moment, and we're the same even when I'm doing better. Because when I'm doing better, I have the ability to help that single mother grow. And that's the only difference. Is what I can effectively not only do for myself, but how I can lift up others when I'm in that position, uh, that allows me more flexibility.
oh, okay. Totally understand that.
Yeah, and from the book that I'm reading, it's called Clarity, and it talks about we. It comes from the inside out understanding, and there's three principles, which I'm still learning all this. Because when we're having thought, when thought is activated, whatever it is, it's true. It's our reality. It creates reality for us. And our consciousness, it doesn't label it as, oh, that's just a thought. No, it says this is your reality. It renders it as full reality. And that, you know, we forget about old successes. I appreciate that you said that, Bill. Like, you've been up, you've been down, right? You've ridden the waves, as we say, right? And you and I talked about that, of like when my wife was 9 weeks pregnant, my electricity was off. We were buying rice and beans with $1 or $2 a day that we got from renting our bathroom out.
Yep, that's amazing.
And today we have a very comfortable house that we're thinking about moving away from just because of its location. And it's a challenge because we love the house, we just hate dealing with the traffic and the isolation. We're far away from everybody we know. And my son's taking classes at the Capitol, and looking in the capital, it's colder there. Rents are 2 to 3 times as high here. And it's like, maybe we'll just stay. But I would say, so when thought activates, it's real. It activates fear. It's real. And I've got to wrap this up. I just saw we clicked over to the hour. But I remind myself, no thought stays on forever.
That's my 1 minute a day strategy.
Yep.
1 minute. 1 minute. 1 minute at a time.
I learned it in one of my, in my early journey from, rising from the ashes. We had a prayer. It said, living one moment at a time, right? Like, just in this moment, what can I do? And letting go of the past moment and not stressing about, like, worry about the next moment when the next moment arrives.
Absolutely. Can I say one more thing?
Mm-hmm.
Last night while I was going to bed, I had a why me moment. And in that moment, I said, who else would I give this to? And I couldn't think of one person. So why not me? I wouldn't want to put this onto someone else. I'm strong enough to carry the burden. And with that, I shifted my mindset and woke up in a different spot.
Amen.
I love you guys. And
Love
I
you
shall,
too, sir.
I shall leave you guys.
Joining. I got to roll because I got another call I got to jump on. Annie, thank you for jumping up. Happy New Year to you. Thank you for bringing
to our friends as well. Our friends in the audience, right?
Yeah. Thank you all.
You take care. Take care.
And thank you all, and everyone. Have a great one.
Bye. Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.
In the shadow of a mirror, where the past holds tight, he walks in with fire, igniting the night. A true seeker's vision, he shines through the black. With every step forward, he won't look back, telling tales of struggle. The masks we wear, we're bound by the labels, lost in the snare. Time to break free from those chains.